I'll tell you straight away, Deb, goals that actually matter, surely all goal setting matters.
Well, see, that's the interesting thing, isn't it? I was talking to a group the other night, and we were talking about the fact that I believe the current pandemic that we are all suffering from is the busy Olympics.
Oh,
And we all
yes.
sign up, right? We all sign up and we're going for gold. And sometimes these are distractions, they're goals that aren't ours, maybe they're expectations from other people, but they aren't always the things that light us up. However, they keep us, sort of in that grind and that feeling of overwhelm, frustration, all those good things come along. So I'm not sure that all goals do actually matter.
Yeah, well, let's talk about this because I know that you touch on in this book the difference between meaningful goals and then what you call shiny distractions. So,
Shiny
can
distractions.
you give
I
us
love
an
it.
example of each?
Yeah, absolutely. So, let's go to the bright shiny, I call it bright shiny object syndrome as well, right? Which is the same thing. And I suffer from this myself, right? I love a good new something. But there are often those things where, it's a bit of a trend. We see other people doing it. So we think, oh, I should be doing that because FOMO might kick in. We might feel like we're missing out if we don't do that thing, or we won't be in the cool group or whatever it would be. So those are kind of the shiny, bright, shiny object syndrome sort of ones that, at the end of the day, if we put them through this decision-making process, which is what this book is, right? It's a holistic decision-making process so that you can identify, plan, and execute on the goals that really matter. And it will get us out of the busy Olympics if we be really deliberate and intentional. So goals that do matter most are ones that stem from us. This is going to freak some people out, but that actually comes from us doing a little bit of a life plan.
Ooh. Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, talk to us about
reverse,
that.
like reverse engineering, basically.
Absolutely. Instead of just, and even when I'm coaching and mentoring with leaders, they're very keen to dive into the doing of the goal, right? We haven't even evaluated whether it's worth our finite resources yet. Our finite resources are our time, our energy, and our money.
Yeah.
So, let's kind of make sure that the goal is worthy. So when we do a life plan, what we're doing is we are holistically looking at everything, all of the life components that are consuming our finite resources now. So these could be things like, components of life are often things like family, could be spirituality, could be career, the home, whatever it is, and they're not necessarily the same for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So this is the beauty of it. It's about what matters for you. And so we go through an exercise of actually identifying all of that. And then what I'm really interested in is someone's level of satisfaction as to where those things are.
Ooh, interesting.
It is interesting, right? And what is also interesting is that we all go through different life seasons. So depending on the life season you're in, so for example, if you are a leader and you have an opportunity for promotion, but you have 3 children under the age of 5.
Right.
And
yeah.
I've had this so many times where leaders, once we've gone through this work, they go, oh, you know what? No, I'm not going to put myself forward for that right now because I know it's going to consume more of my time and I want to be present with my children. So, those are things that we do with the current. Then we also do want to have a little bit of an eye on the future. Where do you want to go to be living your best life? And so we do a similar exercise for the future, but not so that that becomes the only thing that we focus on, because if we do that, we miss living in the present again.
Yeah.
So we need to look at how we bring that future stuff back into now so that, we feel like we're continuously moving forward.
Well, Deb, can I bring in a spiritual component to this one? Because I'm thinking for those who are listening along today and love this idea in principle, but I've observed, say within the faith community sometimes, there can be some resistance to putting life plans and goals in place because people are like, yes, but what does God want me to do? And, if he wants it to happen, then it's going to happen. And I don't want to step outside, plans that God might have for my life as well. Have you encountered this before, or like what would your response be to that kind of reaction to this idea of setting a life plan in place?
Yes, I have had that reaction, and also from people who go, "Oh, but I'm a possibilities, opportunities kind of person, and if I start to lock myself down, what am I going to miss?" So that's that
Yeah.
FOMO stuff creeping in, right?
Yeah.
So the conversation often then is more about, this I believe that God or whatever your higher power is wants you to live your best life also. It wants you to understand, what are you really passionate about? How can you better serve others or your communities or whatever it might be? And so getting clear on those things that you really love, I think, is part of the bigger plan, and perhaps part of God's plan. So, being able to have some clarity around that, because if we don't, what do we end up doing? We end up following the crowd.
You know,
And
that's
then,
so important, because I think we need to actually understand who we are in order to know where we're going. I mean, a lot of cultures talk about this, the importance of knowing who you are, where you're from, and where you're headed. So sounds like this book can help offer a lot of clarity. And just a quick question before we give people the opportunity to get their hands on a copy, because we do have a couple to give away in a drawer. Deb, do you do life coaching as well?
yes, look, at the end of the day, I mean, sometimes when you go into the corporate world and if you say life coaching, they think you're a bit navel-gazing and a bit weird. So, but you know what? We are one being. You
Yeah.
cannot separate
Yeah.
who we are from how we lead. It is all one thing. So inevitably, I spend a lot of time with people around this sort of stuff, because once they know who they are, who the version of themselves, the best version of themselves, they are able to do way better in all other aspects of their life. So yes is the answer to that question.
Oh, well, we love that, Deb, and we love this book as well. So, look, if people want to get a hold of it, there's a couple of ways they can do that. One of them, of course, is via your website, right? So can you give us those details quickly?
Sure. The website is www.deb-bailey.com. And there's just books in the menu. Just go there and we can sort that out for you.
Ah, amazing. I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn your notifications on so you don't miss the next video.
We'll see you in the next one.